Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a phenomenal day. I want to first and foremost say thank you so much for joining me for help. I'm an overthinker. I will tell you this next hour and some change is going to be pretty transformative for you, honestly, because I'm going to be teaching and speaking and giving you some practical tools on how I made it out of that land and that life called overthinking. And I'm really living my best life yet. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I'm Coach Ev. I'm going to give a few more minutes for individuals to come in. I know it's a Saturday morning. It's kind of like, whew, it's early. It may feel early where you are, but I tell you this is probably going to be the best thing you did, the best 59 minutes of your life thus far. So I want to just take a quick moment and just say thank you guys for joining me. If you know someone that's a friend of yours that probably is in this situation called overthinking, feel free to drop them this link right now. Tag them, whatever you want to do. I promise you this. I wanted to end this year with this free training, just really help everyone that I can, because so many of us suffer from this little disease that I like to call, this illness that I call overthinking. So I'm going to give a few more minutes just for individuals to jump on in. Maybe like 2 to 3, and then I'm going to dive right in because I don't want to prolong the time, but I want to make sure that you get just what you need. So get your coffee, get your tea, get your water, whatever it may be, get your notebook also, and then we'll be right back in a couple moments, okay? All righty. I wanted to make sure I had a chance to get my other audiences in here, let them know that, hey, we are live right now. If they want to catch the replay, they can, but they do not have to. But I am ready to jump on in wholeheartedly. So we are all here because we suffer from overthinking. That's right. You your gifted self, your talented self, your wonderful self, you suffer from overthinking. And this is the thing about it. There's nothing wrong with being an overthinker. But we're going to dive on into how we can break some things down practically that will allow you to be able to go forward and to be your absolute best. I promise you this, your life, your goals, your dreams, all those things start to happen when you actually decide, hey, you know what, I am no longer going to be the person that chooses to overthink. So I want to say thank you guys for joining me. For those who are new here, and let me know if you guys are having some trouble hearing me. I just want to make sure we're good. I am Coach Ev. I have been a business and success coach for the last 5.5 years. But weirdly enough, just like many of us, when we start to move into purpose and doing those things that we're supposed to do, we look at our lives and we can say, hey, you know what? I've been doing this the entire time. My entire life, I have been the leader friend, the friend that just naturally just says, hey, let's all get together and let's do this. Leading people, no matter what direction that we're going, we were always had a leader. I'm also been always very organized, very detail oriented. All those things that makes me a perfect success coach are things that I have done naturally my entire life and didn't realize it. So when I came into the fullness or the understanding of, hey, you know what, I've got a lot of pieces that I can put into place that'll help me help people and make their lives a success, an extreme success. I realized then that, hey, you know what, this is going to be something different for me. So I started my coaching, I started my company Vision Birthers about 5 years ago. It first started off as me just helping people organize their mind, their thoughts, their ideas, and even sometimes their events. Well, of course, just like many of you guys, that thing instantly evolved over time. And I'm like, there's no way that I thought that I was going to be a planner for people or some almost like a glorified executive assistant. I was like, I think there's a whole lot more to me that. Then I realized I had passion for motivating and really seeing people become a true success. Now, one thing about it is that success is very different to each and every person that's involved. Like, there's no way to say success for you and success for me probably will be totally different. I know success for you may be money. But for somebody like myself, success for me is how many lives I can impact. You know, success is one of those things that we can always look at and can be gauged, but it's always a personal thing, an internal thing. It's never really what society says the standard of success is. Success is very personal. I know plenty of people who have plenty of money and they don't feel successful. Then I know plenty of people who do not have a whole lot of money, but they feel extremely successful. For example, look at teachers. We all have had teachers in our lives, from kindergarten or grade school up into college or into, high level educational programs where they truly made an impact on our life. But guess what? Teachers have always been probably some of the most underpaid individuals in this world. So think about it. Most teachers, probably the marrying teachers, are people in that arena, but they don't do it for the money. They do it for the impact. And that's that became like my personal life motto. If I do it for the impact and not for the money, I'll always be a success to me. And that was what was most important. So I've been a business coach and a success coach for the last 5 years. I have helped people, everyone from Tamar Braxton to Vashawn Mitchell, Camila Stevenson. I have really had an opportunity to work with some great people over the last few years, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I learned some great lessons working with people who make billions of dollars a year or millions of dollars a year, and I learned some powerful lessons from those who make thousands of dollars for the year. It's all about the impact. So that is me. My company Vision Birthers is we do everything. My goal was when I launched the business, I said I wanted to be a one-stop shop. I wanted to be a thing where no matter what I did, no matter where I went, no matter where how far life took me, that I could always say, you know what, this is a one-stop shop. Because I'll be honest with you guys, in the day and age where everybody wants you to start a business and everybody's pushing you to be an entrepreneur, people are teaching you and telling you, but they're not often providing the resources that you need. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to launch a business, I want my business to be the resource that people need. Plain and simple, no other way around it. I wanted to be 100% clear that when you come to me, you don't have to go anywhere else. I wanted to ensure that you don't have to communicate your vision and what you think about yourself and what you think about what you have and what's in front of you to anyone but you. But me, or me and my team. Because one thing I learned about over the years myself, just kind of figuring this thing on out, is that sometimes it's really hard to communicate your vision and to even sometimes know what it is that you are in need of. And so just having that conversation one time is a whole lot easier. much easier if I'm honest. Just have I can just have this one time, and then boom, this person's able to walk with me from conception, from startup to strategy to marketing to branding to brand building, and then so forth and so on. My company Vision Birthers does everything from websites and graphics to, of course, strategy sessions and kind of helping you get there, mapping you all the way down to publishing. I have a publishing company. I'm a 5-time author myself, with a few more on the way. But I realized that the gems of life are locked up in books. That's why books last forever. A video can be deleted. A video can be, it can fall, it can go away, and the file can be corrupted, and it can be never be opened again. But one thing about a book, it'll last forever. Think about it. Many of the books in our lives that we've loved, that we've read, and even have had some of the most impactful moments or impactful additions to our life, that came by way of books. Whether you're a Christian and it's the Bible, or where you're a self-help person, it's my purpose-driven life. I promise you, no matter what you do, a book will last forever. And that's why I believe that people should write their stories, their intellect, their wisdom. Because one thing about it, you never know. Well, first off, you do know your life is a teacher across the board. You have gone through some stuff, made it through some things, survived some things, learned some things that other people are in need of. And it is your job and your responsibility to make sure that whenever your time on earth is over, that you've done all you can. And often leaving those legacies and leaving that trail of information inside of a book can be one of the greatest and most satisfying things you've ever done. And I know this firsthand. So that's enough about me. That's my company, Vision Birthers. So I want to talk to you guys about why we're really here, like why we're here. So overthinking. I think I mentioned it briefly a couple minutes ago, but I honestly, we've got COVID, we've got cancer, we've got HIV, we've got high blood pressure, diabetes, we've got diseases and illnesses that have plagued our lives. And honestly, I believe that overthinking is an illness that we have the power to cure. What I have seen in my 5.5 years of coaching, and also in my 30-something years of life, is that so many people suffer from overthinking. And I, too, have suffered from overthinking. So I'm going to be 100% honest and transparent on this YouTube channel. I'm going to give you guys my full overthinking story to let you know that you're not alone, but also to be a living testament that this doesn't have to always be this way. So I am Evan. In this moment, I'm Evan, not Coach Ed, I'm Evan. And I used to be an overthinker. I was the person that literally did nothing because I was always thinking about stuff. I made no progress because I was always thinking about how to do it. Had no results because I was always thinking through what is it going to be like when these things happen. I was the person that was gifted, talented, skilled, knowledgeable, resourceful, connected, and stuck. And the only reason that I was stuck is because I chose to overthink everything. Not just business decisions, not just ideas and concepts. I chose to overthink absolutely everything. And that is when my life started to continue to go down a downward spiral. I had no idea that me choosing to overthink every single thing, from bills to decisions to even sometimes where I was going to go, like it got so bad that I realized that I couldn't even make a decision on what I wanted to eat. A lot of us are like that. When we get with our friends, it's like, hey, you know what? I don't know, you choose. You're probably the friend that never makes the decision for everyone. But you know why? It's because you're an overthinker. And I know what that life is like. It's a terrible life. And that's why I'm committed to making sure you don't live it. I stopped overthinking everything maybe 2.5 years ago. And I'm going to walk you guys through the practical steps on how I did that. But no, I used to be that guy. And my life changed when I stopped being that guy. So I'll start off here. So of course, naturally, you're probably thinking, you know what? We have so many different definitions of feelings for an overthinker. If you're confident enough to please drop in the comments what you believe an overthinker is. I'm going to give you guys what overthinking or what an overthinker is by way of definition from Merriam-Webster. They define it as something as simple as this: An overthinker or overthinking or overthink is to think about something too much for too long. That's how they define it. They define it as to think about something too much for too long. I'm going to 100% ask you boldly, what have you thought about too much for too long? And if you're confident enough, drop it in the comments. But if you're not, make it personal. Take a moment, write on your notebook. What have you thought about too much for too long? Too much for too long. That right there is the reason you are where you are right now. You thought about stuff too much for too long. That can honestly be the biggest hindrance in your life. What I've noticed and what I've learned over the years of life is that we, not just me, but we, you, me, everybody in your room, everyone in your house is well equipped, very necessary, very needed, very skillful, very talented, very able, very knowledgeable to do everything in front of us. What you've been called and purposed and desired to do in life, whether it's starting a business, writing a book, launching a not-for-profit, advancing your professional career, everything that you want to do is actually attainable and is right there in front of you. It's not far. It's not very hard. Your entire life has been setting you up for the place and the space that you desire to be in. But if my entire life has set me up for the place and the space where I desire to be in, and I'm still not there, I have to ask myself a question. Whose fault is this? Who's not doing their part? And I promise you, it's not life. Often it's you. Oh, we got some people mentioning, launching my business, opening my, yeah, it's really simple. It's like, you've got the information, the knowledge, the skill, you've lived enough, you've overcome enough, you've walked through enough life processes, you got enough degrees, you've got enough certifications, you got enough professional experience. So what's the holdup? You overthink. So Merriam-Webster gave us that definition that an overthinker is to think of, an overthinker or overthinking is to think about something too much for too long, right? I'm going to give you the Coach Ed version of that. What really is an overthinker? You want to know what I think it is, or what I've learned it is over the last few years? An overthinker is someone who is not confident in themselves or their abilities. Now, in this day and age, everyone is able to appear confident, sometimes borderline arrogant. We are able to appear as if we are prepared and ready and are willing to take on the world. But my question to you is, how confident in you are you? Because your lack of progress, your stagnation, your lack of moving forward is a true sign that you are not as confident as you think that you are. Because one thing about confident people, they do what they say they're going to do. So if you look at your life and look at where you are right now, look at some of those things on your list of life or your goals that have not been done or completed. I want you to ask yourself, when you look at that stuff, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that right now. How confident am I in this? Go for it. How confident are you in you? Because you are the one that's going to make your life happen. You're going to be the one that makes your life what you desire for it to be. That always and only will start with you. But if you don't have confidence in you, how in the heck will anybody else have confidence in you? That's whether to come to your business, to patron your business, to shop your business, to support your movement, to donate to your cause. If you're not confident on what you stand on, how can anybody else be? So the Coach Ed dictionary says overthinkers are people who are not confident in them, and not just in you, but your abilities, your skills, your talents, and your knowledge. That makes it even worse, right? You're not just not confident in you, you're not confident in everything that your life entails that has gotten you to this point, to this place. Do you hear that? Like when you choose to overthink to the point where there's no progress made, you at this moment in time have chosen to say, you know what, all the information that I've learned, all the knowledge that I've acquired, all the things that have shaped me to be who I am, they don't matter. I have a question for you. Is that really who you are? No. I don't care how life has shaped you or made you feel or gotten you to the point where you are right now. To a certain degree, internally, that's not who you are the confident being that you're supposed to be. But there's so much of life that is on top of that that we just got to be willing and say, you know what, I'm stripping this off in a way because I need to be who I'm supposed to be. That's it. I've got to be who I'm supposed to be. I've got to do what I'm supposed to do, and I cannot allow the crutch or the thing that I like that I choose to add to my life by way of my own personal feelings or thoughts, which is overthinking. Because honestly, if I can dive into this right now, overthinking it's a choice. Just the same way you choose what outfit you're gonna wear, you choose to overthink. Overthinking is not a natural reaction. We've made it natural. Psychologically, overthinking is not a natural action. Think about it like this. Look at children around you. If you used to be a child or have children, look at them. How often do you see your kids just do stuff without thinking? Now I'm an adult and I do stuff without thinking all the time, right? But think about that. Often our natural reaction is to move in confidence and boldness, even into the unknown. So overthinking over time, overthinking got added to our life, to our mindset, into our repertoire of everyday living when it's not that. Think about it. We see kids who do stuff. We watch kids grab stuff that's hot. We see this all the time. We see them jump off of things. They stand on the sofa or they stand on the bed and they jump off one time. And when they realize, you know what, this is not as bad as I thought, what do? Climb back up and do it again with a smile on their face. That's you. That's naturally who you're wired to be. The person that just makes a big jump and doesn't think twice about it and smiles and realizes that even though I'm making this big jump, this is not the end of me. I'm not really going to fall apart. That's not how this is going to go. I'm not going to fall apart because I've chosen to make a big jump. You are overthinking because you're nervous about a big jump that you really can smile about because it's going to go well. One of the things that I've been able to do over life, I'm a mindset person, and I've been able to truly train my mind to that failure does not exist. Hear me. Failure does not exist. I honestly only use the term when I'm doing teachings or sessions, I don't even use the term. Let me tell you why failure doesn't exist. Because what failure does, it puts so many other layers of frustration, worry, anxiety, and doubt on you that do not have to be there. Because the world will say you failed. Your family will say you failed. But if you can say, you know what, I never fail, I just learned lessons, it completely takes away the ability or the chances for that doubt and that worry and those things that really kind of take you into a place of depression and isolation. When you remove the concept and the term failure out of your life and say, you know what, I never fail, I just learned lessons, it creates or it makes a space where you're not as stressed. You know why? Because you remove the option and the mindset that I'm going to fail. Think about it. How many times in life have you been in a place where it's like, hey, you know what? I don't want to fail. Yeah, where you're saying, you know what? Failure is the worst thing that could happen to me. And I tell you, that has stopped wholeheartedly your progress, your ability to make some strides. I'm telling you, it's halted you. The idea that failure exists, or even that other people's desire or other people's outlook on you and their outlook on a failure or what failure looks like to you, has put you in a prison where you're not willing to move forward because you're afraid to fail. But if you can convince yourself, if you can rewire your mindset and say, you know what, I really never fail, I only learn lessons, it changes your entire scope of life. Let me walk you through this. So this is about 2.5 years ago when I realized I was sitting one day and I just had a couple of sessions with people, and I realized that everybody that I was dealing with had this fear of failure. And I was like, what is it? How do we remove this? I really said, how do I help people to understand that this doesn't exist and that this is an invisible hurdle that if you remove out of the way or move out of your path, it's never there anymore. And I said, so what's the big thing about failure? What's the hard part about failure that makes us like hold on to it and gravitate towards it? Is it we don't want to learn hard lessons? Hard lessons define you. And honestly, if I'm 100% honest, hard lessons make you a lot of money. When you learn a hard lesson and able to take that lesson and realize that, you know what, I know what to never do again, you're able to go forward with a sense of boldness that will surprise you. It took me having some major lessons learned for me to reroute my business 4 to 5 times over the first 4 years, which has gotten me to the point where I can sit here and say everything that I'm doing makes sense, not to the world, but to me. And because I can say everything makes sense to me, I'm able to stand confidently, boldly, and do stuff because it makes sense to me. But guess what I had to do? I had to learn some hard lessons. What you guys may consider to be failure, I had to learn some tough lessons because those tough lessons rerouted me. It gave me direction and clarity. Sometimes those lessons taught me what simply I'm not supposed to do. Also, some of those lessons have shown me different things like, hey, you know what, this is what I could or should do. And I should probably lean more into these particular areas because I did something, I learned a lesson and I realized, you know what, I wasn't that far off from my goal. Or there's something special in this. It's something special in that. Let me give it a little bit more time. Let me give it a little bit more push. But it came on the backs of me willing to say, hey, you know what, I don't mind learning lessons. So if you don't walk away from anything else today on this broadcast, I want you to walk away knowing you do not fail. If you look at, it doesn't even matter what your belief system may be or who you may worship or believe, all of your deities in this life, most of them are giving you, encouraging you to move in the power that is within, and they don't talk about failure. They talk about success, prosperity, happiness, joy. Do those things sound like failure? I don't care if you're Muslim, you're a Buddhist, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic. All of the things that you respect and love and consider to be your life source are all promoting you and prompting you to prosper in whatever way or whatever area or whatever lane that you're in. They're not wiring you to fail. Most of them have stanzas or quotes or life mantras that talk about how you will never fail, that everything works together and that all things will make sense, or that everything comes full circle. So what are you afraid of? And we're going to dive into really that layer of overthinking in a couple of seconds. But what are you afraid of? Failing? So if you're watching this right now, if you're watching the replay or watching it live, drop in the comments, failure no longer exists to me, because you don't fail. You never will. It doesn't exist for you. Even if you felt like you failed in the past, but guess what? On this great day, you are no longer ever going to wrestle with the concept or the fear of failure. You, my friend, are just willing to say, you know what, whatever life lessons I need to learn along my journey to get me to where I'm supposed to be, I'll learn them, and I'll learn them with a smile. I'll be honest with you all. I have learned lessons that have cost me thousands of dollars at a time. And guess what? I learned every lesson now with a smile. Now, I may want to cry. I may want to be frustrated. I may want to curse, scream, and kick. But at the end of the day, because I realize that I'm learning a lesson, I'm not failing, I can always bounce back. The problem with failure and the problem with our lack of our scare of failure is because we do not feel like we can bounce back. Let me tell you this is what I've learned in life, watching celebrities, watching entertainers, pastors, preachers, notable figures, is that no matter what they've done, majority of them bounce back. The ones that do not bounce back are the ones that choose not to bounce back. I'm going to give you an example. The Kim Kardashian, in a moment of passion and love, made a sex tape with the man that she thought she's going to spend the rest of her life with, right? That sex tape to anybody else could have been the end all or be all. Life will never make sense again. She chose to look at that and say, you know what, her family, whoever, man, they say, you know, this is not the end of the world. We're going to use this and capitalize this and turn that sex tape into a billion-dollar industry or enterprise that not just includes the woman that was in the video, that includes her family, her mother, her kids, her sisters and brothers. Do you realize that that moment of learning a lesson that somebody may look at as failure, where she learned a lesson, she's created a billion-dollar empire to the point where her kids and her kids and right now will never have to work, because she's been able to look at it. They say to change her mindset on what happened. You know what? I learned a lesson. Don't do that again, but let me use this lesson to my advantage. The lessons that you have learned in life, are you using them to your advantage? That's my question. Are the lessons you've learned in life, are you using them to your advantage? I guarantee you're not. Because if you were, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have registered for this. You wouldn't have signed up for this. You would have been saying, you know what? I don't need this. But I can tell because you're here, and I'm glad you're here, because I know that you're here. You're already able to say, you know what? I have not maximized my life lessons. Maximize your life lessons. They're yours. They're your key to understanding. They're your key to clarity and direction. They're your key to prosperity. They're your key to an abundant and happy and joyous life. They're your key to a successful life, but you have to maximize it all. So that's all that led me into the point where I discussed what overthinking really is to me. Now, I'm going to deal with these next couple of things, because this is where I believe it's going to be a game-changing thing for you. Your lessons, your life, you, the overthinker, or you, the former overthinker. Let me tell you the beauty in this. You're not an overthinker. I know I've said it, but I want to say it again. You're not an overthinker. You're just a critical thinker gone rogue. You are not an overthinker. You're a critical thinker gone rogue. You're a critical thinker with no confidence. You're not an overthinker. You're a critical thinker with no confidence. Let me break this down for you. You may think overthinking is bad. You know why? It's because in the way you've gone about it, and the way you've seen it, and the way you've seen it in other people, and even in yourself, it causes you to A, never make any progress, B, be completely behind schedule, because whenever you do get the confidence, it's like, whew, it's been 10, 15 years. Let me tell you what, there's nothing wrong with you being a critical thinker. Overthinkers are critical thinkers just with no confidence. Think about it. In all your thinking, in all your like brainstorming, and all your trying to make it make sense and whiteboarding and connecting the dots, if you had the confidence to move on the dots you connected and the stuff you made sense about it, you would be a multimillionaire easily. Easily. You would easily be a multimillionaire. You know why? Because you've thought through every possible solution, outcome, failure. You've thought through stuff that people pay people billions of dollars a year to be a strategic thinker. Do you realize that an overthinker is really a critical thinker? Look at that. You've always looked at your slowness, or your lack of willingness to make certain decisions and moves, because you're overthinking. And you honestly, I've overthink everything from relationships to food to home to destination to travel, all that stuff. You're not overthinking, you're a critical thinker. We just need to activate the confidence on the inside of you, so that you know going forward that you really can have everything you desire. Let me tell you about it. Planners make the world go round. Those who plan win. Those who plan make money. Those who plan make a difference. Those who plan make an impact. Name me one person that does all of that and does not have a plan. Whether that plan is a day-to-day schedule, whether that plan is a routine, whether that plan is a lesson plan, whether that plan is a sermon or a motivational message or a moment. Everybody who plans is a winner. A component to winning is planning. The biggest component to winning is planning. I don't care what it may be. The biggest component to winning is the plan. You, critical thinker, are able to make the plans. We just need you to say, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I don't know what your 2020 has been like. I can tell you what mine has been like. Interesting. It has been interesting from beginning to end. I mean, and it's not even over yet, and it's still interesting. But one thing I know about it is that even though my plan that I had in place for this year was completely disrupted and flipped inside out, I can always look back and say, I had a plan. And because I had a plan, I can always say, even though things may not make any sense, I can still be confident I have something to go back to. Even with things flipping inside out, I've got something strong and solid to go back to. You know why? Because I had a plan. My question to you is, do you really have a plan? When was the last time you actually wrote out the plan? I can tell you one thing about overthinkers. As a former overthinker or a newly recognized as a critical thinker, we often don't write it all out. If I challenge you as you go forward when you find yourself or you see yourself overthinking something, write it out. Get a sheet of paper. Let me tell y'all something. I don't go a day without my planner. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of other papers in there that are miscellaneous. It's because you know what? When I need to write it down, I needed to write it down. Many of the things that we overthink, we could write ourselves right into the right mindset. I'm gonna say that again. Many of the things that we find ourselves overthinking, you can write yourself into the right mindset. Many of the questions that you have, if you wrote it on paper and read it out loud, you would not have those questions anymore. You would say, you know what? When I wrote this down and I read it, I realized that A, this made sense, and then B, this makes absolutely no sense. It is so easy for stuff to seem like viable options when it's in your mind because there's so many things in your mind. But when that stuff is put on paper in some way, shape, form, or fashion, I don't care if it's an iPhone note, an iPad, or a written sheet of paper. When you look at that and when you see that and you read that stuff out loud, it's very easy to say, you know what? This makes no sense. This is really not an option. There is no way that I would do this. For real. This is not even going to make me happy. I really have no desire to do this longer than 30 days, if that. A lot of the questions that you have answered, the answer is going to come by way of a paper and a pen. Because you're a critical thinker. So you're wired to, you're a critical thinker, and so you're wired to naturally have a plan. And when we got to go back to the natural causes here. You're a critical thinker. So that means that you're prepared and ready to move and to do, but you feel more confident when the plan is in place and when it makes sense to you. If you don't do anything in 2021, I'm going to challenge you and charge you, make the plan and follow it. Even if it doesn't make sense in totality the whole time, go for it, follow it. That's it. Because really what you're doing in that moment, you're setting yourself up to actually see the results that are not going to happen when stuff is locked in your head. Do you realize when you overthink things in your head, you are able to create every viable option and side effect and what is another term we could use? Outcome. And if you look at your track record, 97% of the time you were not always right about what was going to happen or what was happening. Now, sometimes you were, sometimes you were, but not, I guarantee you 95 to 97% of the time, you were not. Overthinking has made me a fool. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sitting around overthinking stuff has made me a fool in the past. It's made me a fool in the past when it came to relationships. It's made me a fool in the past when it came to business and concepts and ideas, things that could really change and shift my life in the direction I wanted to go into. Overthinking made me a fool. You know why? Because overthinking made me stand still. Even when you do not feel like you're making progress. Is anybody ever, you guys into health and fitness, or ever had moments in time where you were really committed to the gym, and even though you were not looking like you were losing all of this weight, you kept going, you kept moving, you kept staying active, you kept trying to get back on on and off the healthy eating or the clean eating thing, eventually you saw it. One of the things I love about working out is because like I move, sweat. And I know in that moment in time, even though I feel like after that workout, I got like a six pack and my chest is like just, and I'm like a muscle man, Randy Savage. I know that in the grand scheme of things, I'm really not in that moment. But my thing is, even though I don't see what I'm looking for right now, I know that something is still happening. Progress is still being made. Calories are still being burned, right? Overthinking makes you not jump, or overthinking causes you to realize that, A, you're not making a lot. You're not making, you have you to think that you're not making progress, when in all actuality, you are still making progress. If you're the critical overthinker / critical thinker who's making some movement, it's all about progress. Progress. The reason you can't take overthinking any further is because it's going to halt your progress. Think about it like this. An unfulfilled life, an unhappy life, an unsuccessful life is a life that has no progress. You don't see progress in your personal development, your relational dynamics, your money, your family, your own personal growth. When you don't see progress, you get discouraged. When you don't see progress, you quit. Overthinkers don't see progress typically because they haven't done it, or they're taking their time getting the confidence to get there. I'm telling you all, I said it earlier, I cannot say it again. Overthinkers are critical thinkers with no confidence. If you could just pick up and say, you know what, I'm just gonna go and give it a shot. If you could just add some confidence to your thinking, man, you're unstoppable. You were looking at somebody who simply just added confidence to my thinking, and my entire life changed. I moved cities, I moved tax brackets, my quality of life has enhanced, all because I embraced the fact that, you know what, there's no way that I'm analytical. I'm going to think things through. But when I start to add some confidence on my thinking, I am now able to move forward into action. The problem is not the thinking. The problem is the lack of action, or the amount of time it takes to get action. You got to move faster. The world is never going to stop. And this is one thing I tell when I'm having my coaching sessions with people or with clients, I'm always like, you do realize the longer you take, somebody else is sitting around saying, you know what, I'm going to give it all I got. I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to think twice about it. I am going to make it happen for me and my family. Not thinking twice about it. They're just saying, you know what, I'm going to go. But you're sitting around overthinking, and somebody else is saying, you know what, I'm going for it. That could be the difference between you and a total change of your life. You sitting around thinking, and somebody else saying, oh, no. I'm done thinking. I'm going to jump out here, take a chance, learn a lesson, and then adjust after I learn that lesson if I need to. That's what people are doing. We see people all the time whose lives flip inside out overnight. And we're like, man, how did that happen? It's because they simply just said, I'm going to go for it. It may not make sense to me. I know it sounds crazy and it sounds stupid, but guess what? I'm going to go for it. You know why? I don't fail. And lastly, we can deal with the component of this. The underlying thing is many of us are fearful. And I don't have a blatant or a tough attack on fear, because I understand it's situational. Sometimes our experiences have shaped these things that make us, that mold us into not so confident beings. We're not confident, and we're nervous, and we're afraid. I'm sorry, we're afraid to make progress and to go forward, simply because sometimes life has happened to us. We've been in situations, we have lived through things where we've only seen a lack of confidence, or we've never seen a lack of confidence and safety and security. But when it comes to the only way you're going to dismantle fear is by saying, you know, when it comes, because it's going to happen, because I'm like this. Being fearful, no. Now being nervous, yes. I do think nerves are normal. I think that nerves are necessary. I think nerves are identifiers. But fear, that's because what you do, you'll push through your nerves. It's easier to push through your nerves than it is to push through your fears. So if I just classify everything, you know what, I'm not fearful. I'm just a little nervous right now, a little more nervous than normal. It's easier for me to push through my nerves in my mind than it is to push through my fears. Putting something in the category of fear, giving it language, giving it a space to say, you know what, this has a hold on me, is a choice. Sound familiar? Remember how I mentioned earlier that I don't use the term failure? I also don't use the term fear. Now, am I nervous? Absolutely. Are my palms sweating? Yes, they are. You know why? Because I'm nervous, not because I'm fearful or afraid. What am I afraid of? Things actually going the way I thought that they would? What am I afraid of? Things not going the way I hoped that they would? What do you do when things do not go the way you wanted them to go? You pivot. You make a change. You shift. That's it. Really simple. When things do not go the way you wanted them to go, simply make a change. And often what I've seen with probably over 300 clients later is that sometimes the change is very small. Majority of the time, the change is extremely small. Small changes. Think about it. People who are trying to make more money and save money. What do you have to do? Make a small change to your life. What does that look like? Budgeting. Small change. People who are trying to lose weight and get into the best shape of themselves just so they feel healthy and energetic. What do you have to do? Small change. Clean up your eating. Another small change. Getting active for at least 30 minutes a day. People who want to learn more knowledge, want to learn more things. What do you have to do? Small change. Create a space where you learn, whether it's reading a book, watching a documentary, looking at CNN, I guess, if you think so. Small changes. Life is all about making the small change. When you dismantle the concept of fear and completely remove the concept of failure, and now you have nerves and life lessons, and then you realize that everything that I think is big is really small. Add that in there. Everything that I think is big is actually small. You got a recipe for success. The person that can look at everything and say, "Oh, this is just little. This is a small thing," is a person that can change not just the life, but they can change the world. Because they're not making a mountain out of something that is a molehill or a mustard seed. We have put mountains in our way. People talk about roadblocks and hurdles. No. We have put mountains in front of our journey and our path. You know how hard it is to climb a mountain? You know how much energy it takes to go around a mountain? Just don't let it exist. I minimize so much when it comes. I am always like, it's just a little problem. Oh, tire blowout, little issue. Oh, water heater in the house bum. We had a little small issue. Keep things small. The moment when we allow them to become big and big in our minds is a moment we set ourselves up to lose not forever, lose instantly. We lose instantly when we allow things that can be considered to be small or to be viewed as small to become big things in our minds. At that moment in time, you've already lost because you made that bigger than you. You made that bigger than your belief system. You made that bigger than your confidence and your skill, abilities, and talents. You made it bigger than what it has to be. And guess what? You did that. You did that, my friend. You didn't have to do that. You chose to do that. You see how this is all getting to the point where it's like at the end of the day, the critical thinker in you, all of this stuff starts with you. That's it. Just you. You are the make or break. You are the decision maker. You are the one that just has to say, you know what? I don't feel I learned lessons. I don't have fear. I have little nerves. I'm choosing to make things small so that way I'm not overwhelmed. I don't become worried. I don't become full of anxiety and lack encouragement and belief in myself. I want to keep it small for me. If you don't hear nothing else I've said today, keep it small for you. So I promise you, when you keep it small, you're able to look at things that other people may say is a huge issue. It's like, no, just this. I can fix it like this. I can do it like this. And then boom. Even if you can't always do it that way, you talk about it like you can, because that right there shifts your mind. And you know what you do? Words will shift your reality. I don't care what you believe or what your belief system may be, one thing's consistent across the board is that your words can either manifest your life, shape your reality, move things around, make things happen for you. It all comes with your words. So if I look at my issues and think when they arise, say, that's a small problem, guess what it does? It makes it small. So small to the point that I believe eventually it just fizzles away. You know why? Because I made it small. I refused to give it space to take over anything else in my life. I refused. And because I refused, it made everything okay with me. It made everything make sense. It made a world of difference because my words kept things small so that my confidence could arise and I could go forward and do what I'm supposed to do and be who I'm supposed to be, and not having the issue of, oh my God, I got this mountain in front of me. No, I got a little issue, got a little problem. And the solution has no choice but to come. So I want to say thank you for joining me for Help I'm an Overthinker. I hope this has really been beneficial for you in your mindset and your logic and your perspective, most importantly, because that is where it all begins. When you accept the fact that you're not an overthinker, you're a critical thinker. You are somebody that's able to say, you know what? I look at these things, they're small. I don't wrestle with failure anymore. I honestly only learn lessons, big and small. I'm not fearful. I'm really just nervous. And I have the power and the ability to keep things small that may seem large. You are really on your way. Mindset is everything. Mindset is the key to money. Mindset is the key to wealth. Mindset is the key to success. Mindset is everything. You get control over here. You can control what's in between here. You can control your life. But you've got to start with controlling what is in between here, and then saying the right things outside of there, and then doing the right things by way of action. So I thank you all for joining me today. I really hope this has been transformative for you and challenge your perspective. I know that this next year, or whenever you watch this video, you can instantly apply this stuff. I made it very practical because I'm teaching you what I've done that has brought me great success. That's it. Nothing to it. Great success has come because I've been able to control in here and really get away from that notion of I'm an overthinker. No, I'm a critical thinker that just needs confidence, because that confidence puts me into action and makes me move forward. It's all about going forward. So thank you for joining me. If you have any questions about who I am and what I do, go to www.coachev.com. I'm a success coach. I've got ideas, concepts. I do strategy sessions by the day, books by the day, because I do believe that sometimes you just need a little more strategy to understand where you are, what you're doing, and to go forward and to be your absolute best. So I'm definitely available for strategy sessions, just to talk about how we can get you out of the place where you are right now and get you to the life that you dreamed of, that you desire to see fit. So thank you. Go to www.coachev.com. I've also got resources on how to pretty much walk out your best life, from everything from writing a book to starting a nonprofit to launching a business. Whatever you need, Coach Ev has for you. Just go to www.coachev.com to get that. Also, this is going to be up. This is going to be on YouTube. Tag your friends. If you have any questions or anything like that, drop them in the comments on this video. I will be coming back here periodically to answer those questions, because the most important thing for me is that you go forward knowing you're not an overthinker. You're a critical thinker that just needs confidence. So I thank you so much for your time on this beautiful day. Go forward and make this next week, or the best day, this day, or the rest of your life, the best of your life. And I look forward to seeing you soon.